So let's extract some dimensions from this cutting profile. So I'll hold down the mouse scroll wheel to drag this over here. I can also zoom into an area with this zoom button. So let's get a horizontal dimension by clicking this button here. Now once I've clicked that button, if I move the mouse over a line, you can see we get this funny coloured symbol, this magenta coloured symbol which looks like an hourglass. Now that means I can get a point which is that point on that line. So it's the nearest on that line. I want to get these end points here. I want that point there and that point there and find out what the length is. So once the square appears, that indicates that I'm exactly on that end point. So I'll click there now. So that's the start of my dimension or distance that I want to get. I'll move the mouse over here to get this other end point. And now I've extracted that length. And my next click will position the actual dimension line. I'll put it up here, which is actually outside the drawing, but that's okay. So I'll just left click and we can see that that dimension is 1353. Now let's zoom in by a couple of clicks and just see that recess there is for fitting of the flange. So let's get the vertical dimension there, that end point and that end point, and it is 8 millimeters. So let's scroll out, drag with the mouse, the center mouse wheel, and let's get an align dimension, which is this length here. So we click there for that end point, for that end point, and we've got a length of 424. So we can get radius dimensions, diameter dimensions, and we can put a leader arrow if we want to manually add text. So a leader arrow, just to show you that, is you just click 2 points, can be anywhere, right click and we have an arrow. So it consists of 2 clicks and a right click. So left click the starting point and end point for the arrow, then right click to show it. Okay. Now the snap points, which are these funny coloured things that we see, that's a sort of an hourglass. We've got a square there to indicate an end point. Now what if we want to get to the centre of this circle? I'll just press escape to cancel this command, and let's do, say, a horizontal dimension. We want it from the centre of that circle to this end point down here. So I click the end point first, but now I want to grab the centre of this circle, which at the moment is not indicated. Now what I can do to get more snap points available is to hold down the control key and right click on the mouse at the same time. And we've got some more what are called OSNAP settings. So I can add, in fact, to make sure I can only get the centre, I can clear all of these other ones and just activate the center snap. So I say OK. So now I can go to the center of that circle, or the center of that circle if I wanted, but it has to be a circle. You notice if I put the mouse over a line, there's obviously no center of a circle for a line. So let's go to that circle. So I'll click there, and we have now the horizontal dimension to the center of the circle, which is the center line of the fan. And I can do the same with now a vertical dimension. You notice that those OSNAP settings only stay in place for the one action. So when I was doing the horizontal dimension and then changed to do the vertical dimension, you notice I can't get the center of that circle again without holding down the control key, clear all, center, say OK, and now we can get the center of that circle. Now these are standard CAD commands. So let's just do the diameter of that circle, say, Now I can, to repeat a command, I only need to right click on the mouse. So you can see that the prompt is saying click on an arc or circle. Get that one there. I can zoom in. If the dimension isn't positioned very clearly, you can also enable the grips by saying edit, enable grips. If I now click on that diameter dimension, you can see there are these little handles or grips. Now if I click on that grip for that 90, I could move it over there. Press and if we see a line following the mouse, that indicates wherever we left click, the D90 is going to follow. So if I now press escape, it's permanently positioned there. So I can now zoom the drawing extents, and I've got these added dimensions. However, we can also use copy and paste to paste in all the scroll dimensions directly onto this drawing. Now, because all these drawings are full size and the scale indicated here on the drawing is only the amount of scale used to print a hard copy, all these drawings can be pasted into each other to build up a picture of different parts if necessary. So I'll close this now, and we will have a look next at copy and paste.